A demonic possession has happened in the White House, but what is next? Let's talk about it in this video for the exorcism at 1600 Penn. Hello, everyone. Dan here from the Next Issue Podcast. On today's video, I'll be doing a review for the full collection. That's 4 issues of The Exorcism at 1600 Penn. I read this book in single issues, but the collection should be out somewhere around August 2025. It will collect all 4 issues of the story if you want to read it all at once. Let's talk about the creative team before we get into this book. This is written by Hannah Rose May, who you may have also read Rogues Gallery, also some Harley Quinn and Star Trek Lower Decks. We also have art and covers by Vanessa Del Rey, who's worked on The Scarlet Witch, colors by Jordi Belair, and letters by Hassan Ousmane Elhau, both of whom you've probably seen and read and seen a lot of their work. They're very prolific, very prolific creators. So, in this book, Kelly Doyle becomes the first female U.S. president amid intense global and domestic pressures. When her daughter Mara begins acting violently, something darker than politics emerges. That is demonic possession in the White House. The first family must confront the supernatural evil while balancing national security and personal faith. So I'll go a little bit more into detail in each issue a little bit on. But before I go into that, I think this book is really great because of the atmosphere that it creates. And a lot of that is driven by Del Rey's art. It is dark, it is gritty, it's scratchy, it's got this texture to it. Also, the colors by Jordi Belair, like the shift in tone of these colors, just really bring you like you'll see some panels that are fully lit because it's a regular scene, but then when things are going awry, when the presence is being felt in the White House, it just like the tone changes, right? The colors get darker, everything just really gets lost in almost the void. And then of course Hassan Ismail has like the lettering work, whether it's noise or just like the way that the voice changes from when it's Mara, or if it's just like the demon possessing her, like all that stuff. I've talked about audio, I mean lettering being the audio for a comic book. So the fact that you have to make those changes, you have to shift it, not just tonally but also the way that it looks. Yeah, I love bringing up when lettering is done well, it goes very much unnoticed, but it's definitely an under talked about and underrepresented part of the comic book creation process. So make sure to check that out when you go into read a book. Just check out the lettering, pay a little bit more attention. But yeah, everything came together very well. I remember doing a review for the first issue, and I knew that this was a 4 issue series, and it was going to be more rewarding for me to read it as a whole, and it really was. Because once I got to the end of the last issue, I just wanted to know what happened next, and I'm reading so many books month to month that I didn't want to undercut that experience of going from one issue to the other. Also, this is 4 issues. Like they're a little bit longer than a regular issue, but of comic books, the whole collection is about 120 pages. So it it really kind of grabs you and goes to the story. It takes you to a lot of these different places. Yeah, it's really cool. I like that we focus on everyone in the family, not just the president. We focus on her husband. We focus on her kids. The way that life changes when they become the first family, right? The kids have to go to a specific school, and everybody knows who they are. There's a lot of commentary about social media and how that plays into just everyday life, whether you are a regular person or whether you are now the focus of all these things because you are the daughter or the son of the president, the president. Like all that stuff kind of comes into, and there's a lot more layers there. You can really go very much. It's a very interesting book in the fact that it has a lot to say about a lot of different things, and you can kind of really pull out what you want from it on every read. Especially on the second read, I really focused a little bit more on the family aspect as opposed to the political climate of the book. So that was really interesting. I read because I read the first issue twice. Once when I originally did my first review, and now that I'm doing it as a collection. So it's really great. Like I said, the art, everything comes together. I think that the characters, you really feel for them. You kind of put yourself in their position. And also, if you just like exorcism stuff, like this really plays with those themes very well. The fact that nobody believes that there's an exorcism happening, and even then, like if you do believe, nobody knows how to deal with that kind of stuff, right? So it's really, really interesting. There's a lot of ideas and themes about like power and vulnerability, as you kind of see how even the most powerful person in the country is exposed to a lot of things, right? Whether it's political pressure from other individuals, whether in this case is the more supernatural aspect of it, of the demons, the social media pressure, like just everything going from all these things. Also balancing family versus a career. I think that's another thing that really plays into the series, especially for Kelly, who's in a role that she's the first person that's really accomplished this. So like, how would that even play out? And then of course this news cycle, or the idea that just because something has happened doesn't mean that it's gonna die down, right? The kids have an incident at school, and that is kind of now gone viral on the internet, and that really kind of comes back to mess with them, with their mind. So and then also just like questioning your faith. So yeah, there's definitely so much in this book that it is very interesting that in only 4 issues, the creative team was able to put in all those ideas. I really thought that it was a quite an accomplishment to just do so much with so little pages, 120 pages to tell this complete story. Like that's quite a feat. So yeah, anytime that Hannah Rose May has a story coming out, I'll definitely be checking out at least the first issue, because not everything's up my alley. Like the Star Trek stuff that they worked on, I'm not a really big Star Trek person, so stuff like that. And I knew Vanessa Del Rey's art was going to be insane, but it is so much more intense than I could have even imagined. So, all right, let's talk a little bit more about the in-depth stuff that happened in each issue. So, the first issue works just to really introduce Kelly and her family, how she's juggling the presidency and parenting two teenagers, while all these little weird things start to happen. And of course, it starts building this uh, angle of the possession, right? In the next issue, issue number 2, Mara's involved in a very frightening incident in school. I won't go too much into detail because I think it's a really nice surprise. There's also like this whole plot about maybe this is a biological attack or something, or maybe a technological attack, something called Havana syndrome. I'm not very familiar with what that was, but the book gives you enough context that it's something that kind of messes with a person's mind and their faculties. Uh, but of course, as the reader, you know that that's not really the case, that it's a demonic possession. And then, of course, the discovery that maybe some of the theories that in issue 3, we discover that some of the things that are going on politically may be true as well. So it just raises the stakes. In the meanwhile, Kevin, who's Mara's brother, goes down his own because nobody will believe him that her sister's possessed and she needs help. And then in the last issue is just the big climax, big scenes with an exorcism, the Vatican's involved, and it just really brings everything. How much of a believer, how much of a strong person is Kelly and her family to kind of keep everything together. So, yeah, this is a really entertaining book. As I mentioned, I'll definitely read more stuff from Hannah Rose May, which I think just recently announced the book. So that's going to be very interesting to follow along as well. And even really like recently, it was announced that Hannah Rose May will team up with Utkarsh Amdukar for a new comic with Dark Horse called The Guy in the Chair, which will be another 4 issue miniseries that's kind of a blend of spy and a romantic comedy. So that should be really fun. That's coming out in October of 2025. So stay tuned to the channel. We'll definitely be covering that. Maybe we'll reach out to Dark Horse, talk to the creators. I think that would be incredible. So, but if you have read The Exorcism at 1600 Penn, let me know what you thought about it. Let me know which ideas were more interesting to you. Let me know what you thought of the art and the lettering, everything I talked about in this video. As always, thank you for watching, everyone. Remember to share, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you know when we go live. That is most Saturdays, 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. And stay tuned. We have some comic reviews, trailer reactions, trailer trailer reactions, TV recaps, movie reviews, all that fun stuff here in the channel. Thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.